somebody's teaching, you can, like this Bible, this is not my Bible, so I'm gonna put it back here, and I'm gonna walk away from it. That's how I feel about those lessons. This is not for me. Does it belong to me? And I'm not gonna go home and bother myself.
Now, if I'm right on this, how's it gonna be accepted? And I'm not trying to be right or wrong. That's not the point. I just want to stick with what God wants. What God wants is what we need to do, period.
Well, I'm kind of like Eric. I kind of miss that old time, step on the toes, convict my heart, Lord. And then what Janet feels like the problem is, so this is my perception, is that it's not that it's not real or it doesn't exist. But when I go to the altar, who's going to come and pray with me?
Who's going to be able to intercede with you?
For you.
There are some people that I would not want. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. When you go to the altar, when you want a need met, or you're looking for a need to be met, I'm not going to say want. There needs to be somebody that you know their walk's true, that whenever they pray, they're not going to go out and go, because that's why a lot of people don't confess everything on the altar anyway, because they know if you've got people that are whisperers and backbiters and talebearers, they're going to go out here and blab it to the whole, and that's not how it works.
It's not even so much that, Sam. I don't care if I'm confessing to God and everybody else in this congregation hears it. I don't care that they go out and tell my business. What bothers me is that they don't go home and pray for me, continually lift me up and say.
Which is another problem.
What bothers me is nobody in this congregation, except for the few of us here, has enough power to get down on their knees beside me or you or you or you and pray. That's why I love going to the altar. I'd go to the altar every service and either thank him or just pray about something that I feel is, maybe trivial to somebody else, but it's important to me. And everybody that comes and puts their hands on my back, in my opinion, they're wasting their time. You need to sit down, because I know your walk is not where it needs to be, and you don't have enough power to get down here and help me pray for what I'm praying about.
And you can discern by the Spirit in the church, by the when it's been a holy, true to God message from the Holy Spirit. You know when the Holy Spirit is convicting. Whether it's some little something I did last week that I didn't, I've gotten a little reminder of, you need to go back and apologize to that person, or you need to fix this.
I had to do that this week.
In my heart and in my mind, I don't make prayer requests, and I don't go to the altar, and that is why.
I understand that. I've understood that for years. Because the biggest thing that's tore this congregation down in the past has been gossip.
I would without any reservation ask any one of you all. If I picked up the phone and said, I really need to pray, and I don't want a phone prayer, I want you to meet me at the church. Don't have a doubt in my mind that you would.
Me and Michael done that. Michael was struggling one week, and I knew it. I just didn't say nothing. And he called me at work, and he said, can you meet me at church tonight? I said, sure, name a time. He named the time. We come up here and we prayed. He got victory. He was shouting. So I know that my life is identified, and it ain't nothing. I'm not trying to do that, but we have to be at that point all the time where the object of prayer is to move God. It's to your life to be so obedient that when you get down and you ask him for something, it don't have to be for yourself. Because here's the thing I've seen. I've needed stuff, and I've prayed about it, no answer. But somebody else can get down and pray about it, boom. But I understand some people can pray for material things and boom, it happens. Some people can pray for spiritual things and you see God rock and roll, you know. So,
But does that make me a bad person?
no,
Because sometimes I feel like,
no.
who are
What
you
that
to
does,
choose who prays for you?
and I'm gonna tell you what that does.
I have had that
You're
thought.
exercising caution. Because everybody that comes in here, I know their hearts aren't where they should be. I know. And I don't say because it's judging. Unless God tells me to put something on it, I don't say anything about it. Now, I'll bring it out in a general form to let them know that God knows where they're at and He's got their number. But as far as, now, if I'm preaching or something, and it comes on me like that, I'll go right to them and I'll call them right out on it. I don't think I won't. I may carry a whooping, but I won't carry one near as bad as they will for putting their hands on me. But I don't look at that. I'm not trying to be a violent person. You see, I've done some research and been doing research on where they've been teaching the 13th and the 27th or the 24th chapter of Matthew is the rapture. God's done show me how that's dissolved. And Mitch, whenever he brought that lesson on YouTube Easter Sunday, or maybe it's Palm Sunday.
It was Easter Sunday. It was sunrise service last Sunday.
No, I think it was Palm Sunday. He gave me the final piece that I needed for what I was researching. John the Baptist came preaching the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Jesus picked up after John's demise, preached the same message. 21st chapter of Matthew, he's on the foal of an ass riding through town, and the prophets, and I researched it, it's in Amos the 9:1, where the king was coming to him on the foal of an ass. That put the final piece of that together. And then when he was crucified, let his blood be upon our heads. And he told them in Luke the 4th or 5th chapter, where he said, this generation shall not cease until it's fulfilled one pot, one jittle. When they said, and this is what they said, let his blood be upon our heads, or our hands. 70 AD, Titus surrounded Jerusalem. And then you have what Josephus recorded, where women were eating their kids and everything else. This generation, meaning the generation that he was in right then, not
This
now.
generation.
Because you have to remember, he was still teaching and preaching out of the Old Testament. And he was fulfilling the law while he was here. The New Testament wasn't written until after his death, burial, resurrection, by the apostles, he was still preaching out of the law. And by that statement, what he was saying is, I'm putting an end to this law age right here. This is said and done. This generation's over with. And then you have the day of Pentecost, where Peter gets up and he preaches and 3,000 souls get saved. The power of God shows up in a mighty way. The church is edified. The people are empowered with the Holy Ghost of God that are born again. And they're set apart as the church like they're supposed to be. And then you start seeing a whole new generation of people come up, walking in the power of God, not just Jesus, but His Spirit in them, moving them to conquer and to go conquering souls. And empowering them to have power over the spirits and everything else which we read about. But most preachers, when they preach to everybody, they're not preaching it. They're preaching like Jesus was preaching to them out of the New Testament. He wasn't. He was preaching to them out of the Old Testament. He fulfilled it when he hung on the cross. And it started all over again with the disciples taking all of history, everything that the prophets had back then, and bringing it forward to make it relevant for the generations to come after his crucifixion, which is what's been going on for the last 2,000 years. So I don't believe in a rapture. The king's already come. He's already set up, ruling, reigning in your heart if he's your king.